lucky here today because we have Michael Kinsley with us. He's a former county commissioner back when all of this started, back when this fantastic partnership started with the shuttle. So he's going to kick things off for us. Then we have Dan Blankenship, CEO for RAFTA, John Hawker, who's the co-director of operations. He's going to say a few words as well. County Commissioner George Newman is here today. He'll be saying a few words, and then Karen Schroyer, our district ranger here on the Aspen-Sopers Ranger District, will be wrapping things up, and then we'll get to the really exciting part, cutting the birthday cake, 40 years of the Maroon Bells shuttle. So we're really excited to share that with you today.
Thanks, Michael Kinsley. I prepared a PowerPoint today, and this is my first slide. I don't think we're going to go much further into the PowerPoint. Apparently, they asked me to say some words today because they think that this was my idea. Sort of. It was my first initiative as a county commissioner. We started trying to do this in '75. It took a couple of years to get it together. But I have a confession, and this is a good time for old white guys to make confessions, sort of generally. So I think it fits in well. And the confession is that I was just the tool of three badass women who it was really their idea, and you know them, Dottie Fox, Connie Harvey, Joy Caudell. It was their idea. They made me do it. So I really, all the problems are their fault, not mine. And there were a lot of problems in the beginning. It took a couple of years to get it together. Well, people said, well, it's going to hurt tourism, and geez, we got a cooler in the car and the kids and all our gear, and we need to take them up there. So this is really not going to work for us. It's government overreach. Anyway, was sort of the general point of view about the thing. And of course, what the people who said that didn't realize is that at that time, overreach was sort of a central theme of county government. We thought that was really the way that one got some work done here. That was actually supposed to be a joke. It didn't get any laughs. So, but seriously, folks, so what we are really attempting to do is to reduce human impact. And we developed a whole program, we, the county commissioners at the time, and the city council as well, throughout the county, of reducing human impact. So this was really only one part, an important part of that idea of reducing human impact. So now, 40 years later, what we have is what feels to me a kind of frenetic use of the backcountry. I mean, compared to the way it was 40 years ago. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you know better than I, this feature, the Bells bus, has maybe reduced the frenzy, or at least the effects of the frenzy, at least in this particular area. But I hope that the Bells bus idea is only part of a larger picture, and that we think about a whole range of questions that larger picture might generate, like, should we keep encouraging use of the backcountry? You think about what's happened with the Utah's marketing program that has overwhelmed the national parks there. And, well, is that a future that we think is a good one? Is the backcountry mainly for thrill seekers who want to post their video about their exploits, or maybe get hauled off by mountain rescue in many cases, or maybe both of those things? Is it just a gym for working out? Is it, do we allow mountain bikes in the wilderness, as several mountain bike organizations have proposed? Or do we design for dispersal or concentration of people in the backcountry? Do we sacrifice some areas for intense use while becoming even more aggressive in protecting areas for more contemplative uses, or maybe even no uses in some cases? you know, have we already sacrificed too much? Is maybe an overarching question. So I think that perhaps we need a larger conversation about the bigger picture. But instead, what we tend to do is to deal with our particular ideas and initiatives and questions piecemeal. That is, individual jurisdictions, individual projects proceed in isolation. I don't want to overstate that. There are notable exceptions to that. This bus system is a notable. You know, it took at least 3 different jurisdictions to make it happen. City of Aspen, Pitkin County, and the Forest Service the Forest Service was a fantastic partner in making this happen. It wouldn't have happened without them, certainly. But so the overarching question is, would we rather choose the future of the backcountry systematically, founded in science? For example, using something like the Watershed Biodiversity Initiative that Tom Cardamone and others are proposing. Even a systematic consideration of carrying capacity, not just of the backcountry, but the valley itself. We hear that word come up time to time, carrying capacity, but never do we really attack that serious issue, serious question. A more systemic approach to attacking a whole range of issues and problems, instead of doing things piecemeal and one at a time. Or do we just passively let the whole thing erode from beneath us? I don't think that's the nature of the people of this valley. This is not a passive bunch of people. I think we are clearly very active. We can become more systemic in the way we look at issues, however. So the bus was certainly one small attempt, an important small attempt. The Hunter Frying Pan Wilderness was another much larger attempt to deal with these overarching questions. So, what's next?
Thanks, Michael. Hi, I'm George Newman. I have the privilege of actually wearing 2 hats. I'm a Pitkin County Commissioner, and I also serve as a chair for RAFTA. And these are the buses that transport thousands of people every season up here. And I have to really think and thank the Visionaries, those 3 great ladies and the county commissioners at that time, 40 years ago, to understand and realize that something needs to be done to protect this beautiful, pristine valley. And interestingly enough, Zion National Park, very similar in ways, where you've got about 6.5-mile road that ends at a dead end. They didn't institute a shutdown until the year 2000. So we were way ahead of them in terms of understanding the need to address congestion, noise, pollution, and the effects it has on the environment along the roadside. So for me, it's back to the future, and these same issues that we faced 40 years ago continue to come up before us: noise, pollution, congestion. And I think that what RAFTA is heading towards, along with the City of Aspen, is moving towards electric buses. And that's going to be a huge movement in terms of addressing noise and pollution. And I think that's the future for this valley, and certainly I think for the upper valley. The other opportunity, I think, in terms of dealing with congestion, is understanding that we may have to, I think we should have to, go to a reservation system. That we can't continue to try to meet the constant needs and demands of the growing population of public who want to visit this beautiful place and access the backcountry, as Michael talked about. So I think a reservation system needs to be looked at and needs to be implemented as we think back to the future. So those are 2 worthy ideas to be able to continue to protect this pristine valley, but still allow the public to enjoy it.
Sure, thanks for having me. I'm Steve Skadron. I'm the mayor of Aspen, Colorado. That's the town that's about 10 miles over there. Michael Kinsley asked some really important questions, and George emphasized some very important points. And bus systems like this don't just happen. It takes vision, leadership, and there's a lot of politics involved. and we are at one of those critical points today. On the November ballot, we'll be voting on really the future of RAFTA. And I just want to emphasize to stay engaged and understand the principles behind all of the initiatives that are taking place, because as I said, we're attempting to fund the future of RAFTA. Part of that is electric buses, and we hope that many of those buses will be used on this very route to protect the environment we all love. So thank you again. Thank you for all your commitment.
Hello, my name is Dan Blankenship, and I'm the CEO of RAFTA. I just want to say it's kind of a nice day here, isn't it? I mean, it's a beautiful place, and I appreciate the folks that organized this celebration of the 40th year of the Maroon Bells Bus Service. Long before I ever visited the Maroon Bells, I was made aware of them by watching the time-lapse photography on Marty Stauffer's Wild America show. And as I was living somewhere else at the time, I imagined that the Maroon Bells was in some remote place that could only be accessed on foot after a long and arduous hike. Little did I know at that time that it was only about a 20-minute bus ride from Aspen up here because of the work that was done by Pitkin County and the Forest Service and its other partners to establish the bus service. And I quickly learned after my arrival here in 1989 that it existed because of a partnership. And the Maroon Bells bus service really epitomizes the power of partnership. We have the Forest Service on one hand, Pitkin County, which took a leadership role in developing the bus service. Of course, there was Pitkin County that provided the bus service initially, and then it transitioned into RAFTA. You had the Chamber Resort Association that provided some marketing of the program, and then you had the various owners of the Aspen Highland Ski Area who changed over time and currently are the Aspen Skiing Company. And they provide parking and other amenities for people who are trying to access the service. Then there are the folks at RAFTA who make it work. The people who provide the tour, the bus operators who put their own unique spins on the narration that's provided from down at the Highlands up here. And they really add some flavor and some color to the experience that many people find memorable. We have also received over the years a few grants from the Federal Transit Administration that enable us to buy some diesel-electric hybrid buses. It was grants that were through the Alternative Transportation in the Parks and Public Lands program, and we were able to get 6 buses that we use that are more environmentally friendly than the old kind of diesel belchers that we had when the service first started. Since the service began, I went back into the RAFTA archives this morning to try to get some statistics, but our ridership went back to 1979, and in that year we provided 54,698 one-way trips on the Maroon Bells bus service, and that equates to approximately 27,300 people. This year we're on pace to provide approximately 225,000 one-way trips, which will translate to approximately 112,500 people. Since the service began, nearly 3.5 million rides have been provided on the service. Given the demand and popularity of the service, passenger fares have typically covered about 75 to 80% of the cost, which is better than any other service that we provide. And the remainder of the cost has been paid for by dedicated sales tax that Pitkin County has provided to RAFTA for that purpose. You know, it's difficult to know with certainty how many automobile trips have been avoided because of this Maroon Bells bus service, but it isn't too hard to imagine how all of those trips, if they hadn't been removed from the road, would have degraded this pristine area. It's such a beautiful place, and I was struck as I was riding up here on the bus, how respectful the drivers are of the people that are riding their bicycles up, and how just beautiful and peaceful the area is. But we hope to make it more peaceful in the future when we introduce battery electric, zero emissions, very quiet buses in the years ahead. We're working on that right now, and that's actually part of our Destination 2040 plan. So speaking on behalf of RAFTA, I want to say how proud we are as an organization to have been a part of this partnership and the role that we've played in cooperation with everyone else in helping to preserve a place that has meant so much to so many for so long. Now I would like to introduce John Hawker, a co-director of operations who's been instrumental since the beginning of the Maroon Bells bus service in making it so successful.
I'm John Hawker, the co-director of operations, as Dan said, and the reason I got invited, I guess, is because I was actually one of the drivers back in 1978 when the system really launched, and I just want to give some fun facts. I did some research when I found out that this event was going to go on, and had to go into the archives like Dan did, and Aspen Daily News archives and so forth. But just some interesting facts. The fare was $1 for an adult, 50 cents for children, the best we can tell, and then it was $1.25. I think it went up to there. However, you could buy a one-way ticket. You could get on the bus for half of that, for 50 cents, and come up for people that wanted to hike over the Crested Butte and so forth. Cool. And for you folks that are around, Highlands was a dirt lot then, and the bus would pull in and there'd be a big cloud of dirt, people waiting for the bus, and we'd have somebody sitting at a picnic table selling the tickets. So it's come a long way since then, and the ride up took a little longer than the 20-25 minutes it did today, because we were using buses that weren't environmentally sound, and quite honestly barely made it up here, some of the equipment, so the trip took a lot longer, and we made some stops on the way up. And the folks didn't really have the shelter and so forth they do up here now, so you'd come up here in the afternoons, it'd be raining or snowing, and you were their favorite person when you pulled up at the bus, because they would come up and hug you, because they've been standing out here in shorts and t-shirts and so forth. So it's amazing for me over the years to watch what it's grown to the numbers that Dan was talking about and what it was, because believe me, when we were putting this together in '78, and as drivers and the county organizing it, we never knew it would take off and be as successful as it is. And it's just, to this day, I'm still amazed on how successful this program is, where we're actually sometimes running buses in the busy times of the year, another couple of weeks, about every 5 to 6 minutes out of the Highlands. Back when I started, we ran one bus every half hour, maybe busload, maybe half of that. Now we have sometimes 13 buses on the busy days, 14 buses with those departures every few minutes, and barely can keep up with it. So the success of the program has just been amazing to me as a driver. And the last thing I wanted to say, I always thought I was one of the luckiest guys in the world, because I got paid to drive up here and take people up here, because believe me, when they got off the bus and they saw this and they came back on, it was a lot more fun doing that than taking people to work every day in the morning. But I did my other days driving the bus. So we always look forward to driving this, and I think today the drivers that do this do a fabulous job. But the same sentiment is there. They just enjoy doing this, and it really shows by how engaged they get with the folks that they give the speech to. So the program's come a long way, and we can't be more proud of where we are today with it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Schroyer. I'm the district ranger here in the Aspen-Cypress Ranger District, and I'm honored to be part of this Maroon Bells partnership with RAFTA and SKICO in the city of Aspen. When I showed up on this ranger district 5 years ago, I remember sitting down and talking with Rich Doak, who's our recreation staff officer at the Forest Service, and I sat down with Rich, and he says, well, you know, the Maroon Bells kind of takes care of itself. It's got a shuttle system up there. And I said, oh, that's great. How long's it been? And he said, oh, 35 years. And I was blown away at that, and I still continue to be blown away at that. The 35 years ago, well, now 40, this shuttle system was set up, and and so far ahead of its time. And it's a big legacy that we continue to want to move forward. And you know, it wouldn't be successful without all those people that are behind the scenes. And I thought about Maroon Bells a lot this summer when I was stuck on the Lake Christine fire, wishing I could be up here. And I thought, you know, it's the people behind the scenes that continue to make the Maroon Bells operating and functional and a great experience for all of our visitors. It's the ticket sales people down at the counter at Highlands. It's the bus drivers. I mean, what a great bus ride that was today. We got a wonderful interpretive experience and a comfortable ride up here, low stress. It's the people up here. It's the Forest Service crews on the ground. It's the Forest Conservancy offering interpretive programs each day, and our ACES volunteers that are leading naturalist hikes. It's a huge village of people that are making this work up here, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. The one thing I will say about RAFTA is they have been incredible partners in the 5 years that I've been here. Every year we have gone to RAFTA and we have asked for more of them every year. We meet every fall and we look at how the summer went and where can we improve and where can we offer more in terms of bus service, and they have come through every year for that. And for that, I want to thank them for that. Incredible partners. And looking forward, we know we have challenges to overcome. We know that we continue to have record numbers almost every summer up here in terms of visitation. And with that, we've pulled together all of these stakeholders, and we're looking again at a long-term transportation plan that can incorporate the bus service and many other things so that we can continue to offer this beautiful scenery to as many people as we possibly can and still have that visitor experience be incredibly positive. So I just thank you all as partners. It's a great experience. We have challenges ahead of us, and I know we'll overcome them. So thank you.